Hello, everyone. Okay. So, a very good evening, and I'm very humbled to be here because the whole lineup of speakers have done amazing things that I think we are only at the forefront of what we're doing. But let me begin my journey telling you about what happened when I took 2 years off school. I'm in my final year in NUS, and I was in California in 2008. And at that time, the financial markets tanked, and all of a sudden, everyone was talking about money. But the interesting about conversations about money is everyone uses my friend. All the bad personal finance stories are about my friend. But it is through all these friend stories that I realized so much about the way Americans manage their money. I was shocked at how it was very, very normal for students to max out their credit cards, to be settled in debt, when they graduate. It's very common for people to buy big boats and houses and declare bankruptcy as a safety net. And it was very common for my colleagues to say, oh, I'm going to inherit my parents' debt. Like, you inherit your parents' debt. These were very, very fascinating for me, coming from a country where we are born into almost a savings bank, and we have the reverse problem of being taught how to save too much. So I was very, very interested by this problem, me and my co-founder, Audrey, who's currently in California. And we decided to really understand what is the root cause of financial illiteracy in America. And so the first thing we did was to basically just dive into existing research to find out what the field already knew. And what was not surprising is that this problem is not new at all. But what was interesting, though, is that all the current intervention of government, pushing curriculum and standardized tests into schools was not working. The research found that over 30 years, the scores were actually decreasing. And if you took the highest scoring students and the lowest scoring students, there's actually no difference in their actual money management behavior. So therein lies the gap between knowledge and action when it comes to financial literacy. And why are all the solutions out there targeting the knowledge and not the action? And then is when I chanced upon BJ Fogg's research at Stanford Persuasive Labs, and that led us to what we're doing. The second thing we tried to do was to really understand this from the ground level. What were families, teachers, educators, credit counselors experiencing? And so me and my co-founder took a year to just understand what was going on. We spoke to almost everyone we could find who has done work in financial literacy intervention. We volunteered in schools to teach little kids through stories about how to save and manage your money. But what was most compelling to me was we visited families, American families, who so gladly, kindly opened up their house to let two Asian girls go in and observe how they would use chore charts and allowance envelopes and all these things, and the deep conversations they had about money. But what we found out, what was very, very salient and what was very, very obvious in the end was what I think is the root cause of financial illiteracy. And I will show you a video that puts together what I can say better in words, if this is working. Sorry? Oh, yes.
Today, dark clouds gather and fill the sky. Don't know how to talk to you, just know how to say goodbye.
Have you actually got a driver's license? I don't think so.
Go back where you came from. Learn to speak English.
Go back where you came from.
So very, very powerful ad that sends chills up my spine every time I see this. And with a lot of problems that we have in the world, this is where it starts. It's so simple because it starts at home, but it's so challenging because it starts at home. And therein, we realize that we need a home intervention for financial literacy. Why isn't anyone doing anything like that? And so this was what we realized, the two pivotal things that drive the Moolah philosophy. That on one hand, we need something that targets the action, and on the second hand, we need to get the parents involved. And I'll take you through very, very briefly this was what we started. We never thought we would start a company, but we saw a lot of opportunity in how we could use persuasive technology to change behavior. And what we are doing is we're designing a kids platform where the idea is to just understand what works with kids right now. We give each kid a little virtual pet, like a Tamagotchi, but think of this as a dollar-gotchi. And this dollar-gotchi grows the more you make good decisions in real life about your money. So the whole idea on the kids platform is to make it fun and interactive and engaging with a focus on behavioral change. There's no Linden dollars or virtual points in our system, but every single thing is real dollars in real cents. What we do on the other end is to give parents their platform where they can track and monitor what their kids are doing, where they can get involved if they want to save up for group goals together. And what we want to facilitate is a communication and interaction between kid and parent. But what happens under the surface is what's very interesting. It's what we do, bringing in real data. Try to get this out. Sorry. What we do beneath the surface is we are collecting real data about what kids are doing in real life and passing it through our algorithms so that we can intelligently recommend parents actions to take at home in what we call just-in-time intervention. So this is in a very, very early stage of development. We spent 1 year in research and 1 year just building the prototype. And what we've seen is very, very small wins with kids. And I'll just share with you a story that really warms my heart. One of our Moolah kids, we call him Junwei, he always wanted a PlayStation, but his mom never let him have a PlayStation. So he decided to use Moolah, take a transparent Tupperware so he could see the money actually grow instead of his piggy bank. And he slowly, put in some allowance to it every single day. And at the 70% mark, we said, hey, you're doing such a great job. Let's get your PlayStation next month. And he said, nah, I don't think I want it anymore. It took a month. I took many months to save up for it. And that was a big win for us. Because things like delayed gratification, things like the value of money cannot be taught through curriculum or by words. These things have to be experienced and have to be learned. And this is what we hope to do with the PlayMoolah platform. And so the other thing we did was to apply this methodology. And when I call this methodology, what is this? It is not about just teaching kids financial information, but by engaging kids first, and then giving them the motivation and the empowerment to nudge their parents to get involved. So our entire product is designed around driving kids' behavior, and then giving them more points or more incentives to get their parents in. So we applied this to one global campaign that we are launching actually today, where we decided to launch the PlayMoolah Global News Reporters Competition, where kids could take the role of news reporters, go out and interview all the adults they would know about questions they had about money. And it's fascinating because we did, in preparation for this competition, we actually went out on the streets to ask kids questions like, where does money come from? Why is a bank so important? Or what is the financial crisis? And the answers were actually really interesting. But I would tell you what happened behind the scenes because there's one piece of footage we couldn't use. We went up to these two American twins and we asked them, what do adults spend their money on? And what do adults do with their money? And she said, without hesitation, they spend it on new shoes and purses and bags. And we could feel her mom getting agitated at the back of us. And she said, I don't spend money on shoes and bags. What happened to food and education? What happened to all those things? And her mom got so agitated that the girl started breaking down and started crying. Immediately, we called off the shoot. And we saw that the interaction immediately changed. We apologized, but the conversations they would have at home are totally transformed. And so this PlayMoolah News Network, it's launching today, which would run up to April, which is Financial Literacy Month in America. We've partnered with Aflatoon, who's going down to about 67 countries to get the views from developing countries. In Singapore, we are holding an inter-school competition starting today to get the views of children on the financial crisis. And the hope in this is we're talking to actually some media broadcasters to have the global winners all around the world be on TV to share with the world their views of money. And the last project that I'll share with you is our pilot test at a nonprofit. It's called Give Moolah. And this is something very, very deep in our hearts that started, in the inception stages when PlayMoolah started. We were thinking of a way for kids to allocate money to charity. We were thinking there was so much more potential than just anonymous giving and anonymous receiving. Could we link up two kids in different parts of the world, link up one kid from a less privileged country and one kid from a first world, let them connect in friendship and cultural exchange, and at the end, get one kid to fund the other kid to go to school? This is a very, very powerful idea, and we started this with a lot of encouragement from a lot of people and an excellent group of volunteers working on this, but still in the very, very early stages. But I think if you look at all the different things that we are trying to do, after a while we saw a common thread. And the thread was that you can empower kids to be the drivers of change for their families and for the world. And I think that's an idea worth spreading. Thank you.